it's Kyle down at Luna. Today is another suspension day. We're going to be talking about inserting these little spacers. Now you may be curious what they are. They came with your bike in the parts box, and what they are is Rockshox bottomless tokens. They are a volume reducer, so they take up space inside of the air chamber, and they actually change the spring curve. So when you're getting towards bottoming out your shock, it increases the stiffness quicker the more tokens you have inside. So you do have one other way to stiffen up your fork. It's the compression adjustment, but you would not want to rely on this for taking any sort of big hits. You would absolutely not want to jump off anything with this closed. There are seals in here that can burst and break. So the first thing you would want to do if you want to stiffen up your fork, or if you want to soften up your fork, is either insert or remove these. Now from the factory, Rockshox goes ahead and inserts two. So if you are a lighter rider and you find that at the end of your ride, your little travel indicator is only about halfway, you may want to open it up and remove the two tokens that are in there. Or if you're a heavier rider, or at the end of your ride, you find that you're bottomed out your fork a few times, you may want to insert a few of these. So you need a few tools to do this. We're going to go ahead and show you what tools you need on the screen right now. But step one is to let all of the air out of the air chamber. Now this is not one big chamber, it's actually two chambers. There's the big positive air chamber, and then down at the bottom there's a tiny negative air chamber. So you don't want to just let all of the air out at once. You want to let it out and then cycle to even out the air pressure in the top and the bottom. All right, now once you're sure all the air is out, you can go ahead and open up the air chamber. And for that you need, it's actually a cassette lock ring tool. I'm using the freewheel remover tool because it doesn't have the pin in the middle. You want to carefully open this up. This is nice and anodized, so be careful when you open up this chamber so as not to mark it all up. So as you can see, Rockshox is already installed two from the factory. So if you're a lighter rider, you may want to go ahead and remove one of these, and you're paying for 6 inches of travel, you may as well get it. So to remove these just thread in, and you would use an 8mm hex key to take these off. Then you would just reinsert and air it up. But today we're going to be adding some. I'm going to go ahead and thread all four of these together. And you want to, these are plastic, so you don't want to go too tight on these, but you just want them so where they're not going to fall apart and rattle around inside your fork. Now, SRAM gives you some free grease right here. You want to be sure this little O-ring here isn't all dried out. If it is super dry, it may be time to replace that O-ring. But just be sure it has grease on it when you're reinstalling it. We're going to go ahead and tighten this down. And this is in aluminum on aluminum with a nice O-ring, so you don't want to go too tight on this. Say about 15 newton meters on this guy. There we go. And then here's the step to air this up. You don't want to just add all the air, otherwise none of it's going to be in the negative air chamber. The fork's going to be really hard to compress. So again, air it up and then cycle it as you do this. Now you may think, oh, do I need to run more pressure now that I have these, or more pressure now that I took some out, or less pressure? No, you want to run the exact same pressure as you did before. All this is doing is taking up volume. So we had this set up for Ramsey at 85, and I get it back to 85. So because I know this is going to lose a little pressure, when I remove the valve, I'm going to go ahead and go to 90. So as you can see there, we're at 90. I know it's going to lose about 5 psi when I take this off, even if I take it off quick. So all right, so it's a little more advanced than our initial setup. But if you have the proper tools, anybody can install or remove Rockshox bottomless tokens. It's a great way to custom tune your fork. So there you go. Only a few tools and you can go ahead and fully customize your fork.